I see VRA, Verasity, trending a lot on Twitter. Well, you know what we do. Let's get into the chart. Let's go. 786 Assassins. What is up, everybody? Good to see you. Carolina Keith, regular Keith, Professor Keith. I can't stand Keith. Rocking the old Panthers hat today because we got demolished last night on Monday Night Football. I don't really want to talk about it. Nonetheless, we never stop charting here. I was looking at charts while I was at the game. I'm a chart addict. What can I say? But before we do that, if you would be so kind as to check us out, wap.com/team786. That gets you access to our full Discord, full of smart people, charts, information, constant access to everybody who constantly wants to talk about charts and make as much money as possible. My portfolio is listed there. Every trade I make is listed there. It's all there for you to see. It's about $10 a month. Not that much money in the grand scheme of things, about the cost of one fancy coffee per month. I think you can give that up and get around the smartest people you can. Be prepared for this upcoming bull market. That's what we're trying to do, make as much money as we can. I can't do without our Discord. Makes everything so much better. You're missing out. Jump over and check us out. And now on to the chart. First things first, let's just have a quick overview of what's going on here. I want to talk a little bit about the all-time high and the 2022 low first. So according to CoinGecko, Veracity's all-time high was about 0.086 cents, a little bit over that actually, with an all-time high market cap, pretty darn high up there as well, but the current market cap is just over $41 million. It's about 41.2 million, which is honestly pretty low for most. VRA comes in at about, today, 432nd in the rank. I don't really care about a lot of that. I mostly just do the charts. A lot of people like to dabble and all that other stuff because they think that'll make them money when it really doesn't. We had a 2022 low of roughly 0.002 cents. All right. That was all the way back right at the end of 2022 before 2023 started. VRA made a great move up off of that bottom, off that yearly low, and has since done pretty darn well. And as we can see, it's a little bit driving into a wedge right now, which I want to talk about a little bit more. Before we talk about that wedge, let's look at this lower trend line here and how sharp this thing has come up and held the entire time. This gives me confluence to make me think that this thing's going to continue going up here and the downside is a bit limited. There is support at a couple different levels in case that does fail. We always like to have a backup plan. If we look here right about 0014, there is support there in case VRA does fail south. There's also a support level up here where the end of the year happened. All right. You could pin it up a little higher here and maybe say that. I would like to go at that 002 level, maybe perhaps retesting the low if this big upward trend line here fails, but we don't have any evidence of it failing yet. All right. Still on the high time frame here. I've zoomed in a bit to this wedge that has formed to the right all the way we currently are. This thing is boiling hot. Hasn't made a move yet, but gosh, it is so close. All this red that's came in, all right, after this big move up before the summer started, then this thing really tapered off all summer long. It made its move early, which was cool, and that does give me some confluence to make me think this thing will have a pretty darn good bull market. When I see those early movers that move quick and then slow down, shows me that they've got some validity to them, they've got some heat in them, and they might possibly move a little bit faster than others. I like the green candle coming off the bottom of this trend line here. Now, I will say disclaimer here, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Tomorrow on September 20th is the federal government FOMC meeting. If they cut rates or go flat on rates, that's going to be seen as bullish or hawkish. All right. If they raise rates, that's going to see as bearish. You're going to see this trend line fail if that happens. I'm hopeful we get flat or cut rates, but I don't control the government. So going a little farther here, excuse me, my voice is acting up. I was at the Panther game last night, so my voice is just finally coming back this morning. I haven't seen this trend line break yet. I want to see this trend line break for some confirmation here. I've got no confirmation yet, aside from a daily look that I'll drop down and show you now. All right, here's the 8 EMA, 21 EMA. I use this a lot. You'll see it almost every video. It's very simple to use. 2 candles closed over the green line, which is the 8 EMA, is usually a good sign to start buying. And that's when it's in a bull market, not a bear market, or when it's in an uptrend, not a downtrend. And we're very clearly stuck right in between the two right now. So you might want to be a little careful. If you want to be a little risky, go ahead. I've already started DCAing into this. I've got half of what I want to buy in already. If things get bad, I will bail, tuck tail, and run and buy lower. If things get better, well, I'll go ahead and buy in the rest of the way. No harm, no foul, and we're all good. I'm really waiting to see a move here. So I haven't got an 821 upward cross. That's where the green line jumps the purple line. That hasn't happened yet. So like I said, I don't really have a bunch of confirmation here yet. Still waiting to see it do a little something. So here is the 50, 100, and 200 day moving averages. It's under all 3 of them. I do like the fact that they are sweeping slowly to the right, which is a good sign. I think this is going to show that the thing wants to move up a little bit here to kind of squeeze these moving averages in a little bit. They're very far apart, which shows me that it may take a little bit of time for this move to play out. Excuse me. It may take a little bit of time for this move to play out, but all these are going to start to compress down a little bit. And once they start to compress and squeeze in, we'll see that move start happening where things get a little bit more violent and a little bit more peppy. But for the time being, none of these look exceptionally great. Now here's something cool. This is Bollinger Bands, and we use Bollinger Bands to find our volatility. When these Bollinger Bands squeeze in and they get tight, we typically see volume come in. Now, as you see, the Bollinger Bands are getting tight, and it's running directly into this corner right here as it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. So the last time this happened, when the Bollinger Bands got this tight, look what happened back here. This thing started getting violent and moving, right? We look all the way back at the beginning of the year. Same thing happened. Bollinger Bands got tight. It did drop down, but then bam, look at that thing take off, right? This is why I've started the DCA process, because like some of these things are scraping the lows, sitting at support, kind of showing that they're ready to at least form a bottom pattern. Maybe they're not ready to go way up, but at least maybe they're forming a bottom pattern, which I think is happening here on VRA. Now, a bunch of you are going to say, well, the tokenomics and the tokenomics, that's great. I understand. You don't want to see this. You do want to see that. Whatever. What I'm trying to tell you when I do all this is none of that matters to me in the sense of how does it make me money? I cannot control what happens with the tokenomics. I cannot control what the devs do. I cannot control what the wallets they hold it in. I can't do any of that. Okay. I know that there may be an unlock or a lock or whatever they're going to do. Kind of all priced into the charts, in my opinion. That's why I don't worry about any of it. So before you start barking down my throat about how this, that, and the other, I just use the charts, okay? I buy and sell the charts. If things get bad, I'll bail. It's not that complicated. So now, like I've said, I've already started to DCA into this. While I haven't got the best confirmation ever, it is catching a little bit of a falling knife, which I say don't do all the time. Part of the reason I didn't buy all the way in, I only bought some, okay? I want to zoom out here and give you an overall look of where I think things may go. So just a quick look, I can see that there is some resistance up here, right about 0.018. There's a good bit of hefty resistance right here. This thing may have a hard time busting through. You'll also see that the resistance that it already hit right here, when this thing peaked up early in the beginning of the year, I'll say that that's going to be a resistance level that gets tough. What you're going to start to see is that same pattern where this thing is very, very equal on the way up, and it's very geometric about the resistance and support. So why don't we just pull a Fibonacci retracement on it? So I pulled this Fibonacci retracement all the way to 2026. Why did I do that? Well, the bull market will likely last that long. Now, I don't know when everything will start and stop. That's not what we try to do here. We're plotting points on a chart. The prices kind of come out to themselves on their own. But I will say this. Fibonacci retracement is extremely accurate. We've seen this over and over and over again, especially on a high time frame. So that support and resistance lines that I drew there, roughly between the 382 fib and the 50 fib, you're going to ask me, well, how far can the price go? What are some price predictions? Well, here we go. Right now, we're stuck under the 236 fib and have done nothing yet. Once this finally does move, I do expect it to kind of get hung up in here. And maybe this is that slowdown period where I talked about how the moving averages will compress down. Maybe that's that period where this happens going into 2024. Now, coming out of 2024, or coming out of 2023 into 2024, we'll start to see the thing move up and do its job. Those levels of trouble there will be in between 0.08 and 1 cent even. 1 cent's a nice round psychological level. So I do expect that to cause a little bit of trouble there and maybe slow down. From there, we're likely to get up here to this golden pocket. Well, golden pocket, what does that mean? Well, a lot of assets slow down right there, and VRA very well may slow down there. So let's think about this for a second. On the thumbnail, you saw I put 60 to 100x. Well, I think that's possible, and I'm about to show you that, but I want you to understand there's a high probability that a lot of these won't make it that far, okay? It's possible we get that kind of number, and I'm going to show you that. Because I'm showing you that, I don't want you to think that's probable. There's a big difference between possible and probable, all right? If this thing fails on the way up, I will tuck and run and sell it and not worry about it at all. If it keeps going, I will absolutely stay in and ride it until it fails. So I'm ready to play this both ways. All right, so here we go. I've got some different levels drawn out here. I think the first one that you see to this 50 level, which is about 250% from today's price, is highly probable. We've seen it run up to this level before. We know that there's resistance there. It'll likely slow down around a penny. All right, I do expect that to happen. I expect it to hit the brakes in there somewhere. All right, to the golden pocket that we just talked about, that's about a 5.5x, about 500 to 550% from where we are now to that upper level of resistance, which is right in here somewhere. Okay, it will likely slow down there. If it doesn't slow down there and goes to the next most important level, which is Sniper's Alley, which is 786, 886, there's not a ton of resistance here. There is a little bit of inefficiency where there was no retrace. So I think it's probable that we get up here. All right. That's about a 10x from where we are today. In case you don't understand, folks, that's 1,000%. Okay. $1,000 turns into $10,000. That's pretty darn good. Here's where it gets crazy. And I don't think this is probable, but I think it's possible. I think it's possible we get up here to the 25-cent level. If we get up there, that's roughly a 60x from where the price is today. Above that is 41 cent and 87 cent. Listen, you can do the math on what the market cap would have to be for the price to be that high, on what may or may not happen with tokens. Again, not my thing. I just do the chart. When the chart fails, I'm out. If we run out of time on the bull market, I'm out. Just showing you these so you understand them. Now, obviously, I'm hopeful this thing goes as high as possible. In the idea that it doesn't, let's back out some of these here, and I'll give you some possible price action scenarios. I'm hopeful this thing does a great price action move up, bounces here, rides high, and doesn't really stop. If it gets up here towards Sniper's Alley and slows down but makes around an all-time high, that's amazing. What if that doesn't happen? What if we make our run up and it keeps going and gets right here and then it starts to fail? Once this uptrend right here fails, I'll draw it a little better for you. That potential uptrend, once that potential uptrend fails, that's where I bail and where I tuck tail. Now, I'm not saying this happens. This is just an example, but I want you to see the possibilities in both directions. You guys know I don't shill anything. I don't care. So whether that's a 10x, a 60x, nonetheless, I think it does well. I think the chart shows that it's going to do well. I'm here for it. I got more videos coming out soon. VRA was just one. Got many more I want to do before the bull run actually kicks off. Again, if you haven't done so, please check us out, wap.com/team786. We have a limited amount of people that are going to be allowed in, so get in while you can. Thank y'all, and I'll leave you with this. In the words of the late, great, notorious B.I.G., you could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me. You guys will never understand how much I appreciate that. Thank y'all. I'll see y'all on the next one. Live stream tomorrow. Live stream Thursday, 11 p.m. Be good. Peace.